The term maintenance comes from the Latin word maintenum, meaning to fix something before it stops working. And that's the basic principle behind the carefully planned services known as aircraft maintenance. That's our subject on this edition. In addition, the Lagos International Airport is finally certified, and aviation unions march against the proposed concession of 2 major terminals. That's the program at a glance. A warm welcome to Aviation this week on Channels Television. I'm Bukola Joe Oketumbi.
An aircraft is indeed one of the most complex machines man has ever seen. An A380, for instance, has over 1 million parts. Today's aircraft are carefully tuned machines with primary systems and backup systems in order to fly up to 16 hours non-stop without skipping a beat. With a fleet of about 46 aircraft in the country and 44 currently covered by insurance, operating smoothly is a big job. And every airline has its engineering team who maintain their individual fleet. The origin of the term maintenance comes from the Latin mentinum, meaning to fix something before it stops working, and that's the basic principle behind the carefully planned services that an aircraft receives during its life, which could easily be more than 20 years. It's a bit like the scheduled services for a car, except a lot more complicated. The age of the aircraft, the number of hours it's flown, the number of takeoffs and landings, requirements by aviation regulators, and the airline's own policies determine when and what type of maintenance we do.
The airworthiness of aircraft is governed by the Annex 8 of the International Civil Aviation Organization. We are operating in line with that standard, and we are working very hard to build that capacity to be able to do all the necessary checks from check A down to check D. And that is why this administration has been working very hard to ensure that we have maintenance, repair and overhaul organization set up in Nigeria.
Aircraft maintenance are divided into 3 types of checks that bundle together hundreds of tasks: A checks, C checks, and D checks. Inspection of things like wheels, brakes and fluid levels during transit checks, plus any running repairs that the aircraft tells us it needs through thousands of onboard sensors. Most aircraft will receive about 12 hours of line maintenance per week. These happen around the world and around the clock. Every 8 to 10 weeks, filters will be changed. Key systems like hydraulics in the control surfaces that steer the aircraft will be lubricated, and a detailed inspection of all the emergency equipment is completed. A typical A check on B737 takes between 6 and 24 hours. An expert tells us about the C and D checks.
It touches the engines, it touches the legs. The legs are called the landing gear. It touches the interior of the aeroplane. It touches the exterior. It touches the wings. So We will inspect with our eyes, we call those visual inspections. We will inspect with machines, we call those non-destructive testing inspections. We will carry out special job requests from the manufacturer and from government. Quite a whole range of inspections are carried out. So manufacturers typically expect the aeroplane to do 50,000 hours for 737 type and 66,000 landings. So D-check is usually pegged at around 24,000 hours. So at least once in the life of the aeroplane, it is pulled to the hangar. The aeroplane is completely stripped. The idea is to zero the stress on the aeroplane. Once an aeroplane has gone for D-check, you now have two kinds of count. There's hours since overhaul and hours since new. The hours since new is nominal, but this hours since overhaul becomes your control, because once it goes through D-check, it's assumed that you've zeroed the life.
As technology improves, aircrafts are being designed to need less maintenance. For instance, the Boeing B787 only needs a D-check every 12 hours compared with every 6 years for older aircraft.